Hi there, my name is Magnus Billgren. I run a company called Billgren Product Management. And I'm happy here today because next to me is Rich Mironov, one of the thought leaders in the world. And you've been working with lots, and you're from Silicon Valley. And,
I am.
And Silicon Valley that's where a lot of the startups are coming from Silicon
There's
Valley.
thousands of startups end to end. Silicon Valley is crowded with them. I've had the privilege of working, I think, at 6 startups as an employee, a few as a founder, and consulting to, I don't know, perhaps 40 other startups.
That's interesting. But still, I have not yet found a startup when they have recruited a product manager. Don't they need product management? Why isn't there a product manager in startups? Or how do they do product management?
I think I've actually been recruited into several and parachuted in on many occasions as the interim or temporary product manager.
Okay.
I think there's a size issue, which is that when you put your startup together, you may only have 2, 3, 4 founders.
All right.
And 1 or 2 or maybe 3 of them are engineers. So it's hard to find room for someone who wears the product management hat exclusively. I've joined 4 startups as the first person in product management at about employee 15 to 20. So at that size, there's enough that there's someone in sales or marketing, there's an engineering team underway, there's some product being built. And so, at about 15 or 20, you can actually go out and put a product manager in place full time.
My experience is that you often have the CEO or one of the founders, oftenly, and the senior engineering or CTO, that they together have a great cooperation and they together form the product management role within those startups.
I think they do, and I think they must. So in the startups where you don't have a founder who can step in with some good product experience and good horse sense, I think those companies fail.
Okay.
So the successful companies we see are ones where the founders pool together their experience. Particularly, there's sort of 3 key things that the founders must do before the product managers arrive. They have to really, really listen to customers. Get out of the building, as Steve Blank says. Get your butt out of the building and meet lots of customers.
Right.
They need to understand the economic basis. They have an ROI or a price expectation for why customers are going to give them money. Right. And they need to really lay out some kind of basic roadmap or requirements for what they're going to build. So if you can put those 3 things together, find it in the founding team, you can survive those first few quarters to where you're big enough to get a product manager.
Right. So it's kind of around 15, that's where you need kind of product management within the house, but you need the product management thinking very early on.
Right. And some will come earlier, or one of the founders may in fact have been in the product management role, which is ideal, but it's hard to afford before then. So I know there's a lot of good product management out there where we may drop in for a few hours a week and give some advice, or we may be able to time slice a little bit of product management in to keep that startup well focused with good customer input and moving along well.
Great. Just one more thing before we end this conversation.
Of course.
What do you see as right now the most important trend? What's happening in Silicon Valley today that's really happening in the startups?
So I think the biggest trend over the last 2 months, so Eric Ries's book that just came out on the lean startup is really the point of the sword to a lot of thinking about early prototyping and getting in the face of customers long before the development cycle is done and maybe even started. So how do we get urgently needed, validated ideas and product concepts that customers want to buy before we get too far down the road? So, this is critical. I think it's great product management thinking, but Silicon Valley is now bubbling up with people who have the right ideas and are seeking out customers instead of build it and they will come. So the classic engineering mistake of, this is what I want to build, now let's find a market for it. And I think that's...
So it's much more getting out there, getting out of your chair, visiting customers, testing out the concepts.
It absolutely is. We talk about failing fast, and the idea is that if your idea is not market worthy, you want to spend as little time and money and love as you can before you can move on to the next winning idea.
Good. Well, thanks with those tips and how they run it in Silicon Valley these days, and
fast.
also
fast is how you run
fast and lean, and to keep that product management thinking
yes.
also in the startups.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rich.
It's a pleasure.